Hello and welcome back to 365 Days with mxmtoon. I'm Maia, a singer, songwriter, video maker, Oakland native, and all-star. I'm also a huge fan of history. I love untold stories, gross facts, hidden secrets, and anything weird, dark, and funky from the past. Each day, I'm going to share one of my favorite deep cuts with you, so let's take a look at today's stories.
It's 365 with mxmtoon. New facts every day, so don't leave too soon. I'm gonna teach you stuff, no it won't be tough. Gonna go a year till you've had enough. It's 365 mxmtoon.
On this day in 2001, the animated DreamWorks film Shrek was released in theaters. Starring Mike Myers, Eddie Murphy, and Cameron Diaz in voiceover roles, the offbeat fairy tale has become an unexpected fixture in pop culture. In the goofy picture book, Shrek, former New Yorker cartoonist William Steig tells the story of a disgusting green monster who finds true love with an equally ugly princess. Published in 1990, the children's book made fun of traditional fairy tales and instead celebrated the antihero. So, when the repulsive ogre story was optioned for film development, it only made sense to bring in other fairy tale characters. Most fairy tales are public domain, meaning that artists can adapt their stories without paying for copyright. So, the Shrek movie became like the fairy tale equivalent of the Avengers, featuring characters like Pinocchio, Puss in Boots, the Three Blind Mice, the Gingerbread Man, and many more. Originally, the film was imagined as a 2D animation, but at the time, computer-generated 3D graphics was becoming more accessible. It might be hard to believe, but 20 years ago, this was pretty groundbreaking. So Shrek ended up becoming one of the earliest computer animated movies. The development team was serious about making the computer-generated elements look as realistic as possible, but maybe there's such a thing as being too committed to the bit. Apparently, one of the hardest things for animators is making moving liquids seem real and natural. So according to Seattle Weekly, Shrek developers took mud showers to study, quote, fluid dynamic simulation. I guess the team's commitment paid off, because at the box office, Shrek was a smash success. It went on to win the Academy Award for Best Animated Feature. It was the fourth highest grossing film of 2001, which is even more impressive when you consider the iconic films that ranked above it: Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone, The Fellowship of the Ring, and Monsters, Inc. 3 Shrek sequels were released over the next 9 years, and rumor has it that a 5th Shrek movie is in the works. Cross your fingers. Mike Myers voiced Shrek, but DreamWorks executives considered some surprising stars for the role. At first, the Saturday Night Live star Chris Farley was cast in the lead role, but he died unexpectedly in 1997 while production was already underway. As a result, some of Shrek's facial features resemble an exaggerated caricature of Farley. If you think about it, it's actually a nice tribute to the beloved comedian. Before Mike Myers, Nicolas Cage was offered the role too. Nicolas Cage might have been destined to become a star in memedom, though, because 3 years later he played the role you know and love him from in National Treasure and stole the Declaration of Independence. Of course, we can't talk about Shrek in the present day without talking about Shrek memes. It's hard to know exactly why Shrek became a meme. In fact, it didn't really get memed on until the early 2010s, about 10 years after its theatrical release. Since the Shrek franchise was so successful, it was a common cultural touchstone for the people of the internet. And I mean, doesn't it just seem like it's begging to be memed? The movie opens as Shrek wakes up and goes through his morning routine. He takes a shower, scrubbing himself with swamp mud, burps on a match to start a fire, just does generally swampy ogre things, all the while All Star by Smash Mouth plays as the title credits roll. It might be annoying for your band to become best known for its association with an ogre, but Smash Mouth has fully leaned into it by now. In 2019, they even released a remastered version of the All Star music video. This song is actually one of the few songs I have memorized on the ukulele that's not my own. One time I even panic sung it on stage in front of an audience in London. I had a bunch of technical difficulties, and there are videos out there on the internet, specifically Twitter, of me panic singing All Star acoustic on stage. And fun fact, did you know that some Shrek fans call themselves brogers, like bronies, but ogres? The internet is truly an amazing place. Speaking of which, the internet has produced some unironically incredible tributes to Shrek. In 2018, the YouTube channel 3GI organized over 200 people to contribute a fan-made recreation of Shrek. The 90-minute YouTube video now has over 6 million views. It might seem weird that Shrek is still so relevant 20 years after its release, but let's not question it. Let's just enjoy the memes before they're over and done. Now let's talk about music. Today, in 1985, the Scottish rock group Simple Minds finally cracked the US charts with Don't You Forget About Me, which hit #1 on the Billboard Hot 100. The song became incredibly popular after it was included in The Breakfast Club, a now famous 80s movie about 5 teenagers who form an unexpected bond while serving detention. Don't You Forget About Me played during the opening credits of the movie, just like All Star did in Shrek. Decades later, the song would experience another wave of popularity after it was used again in this generation's coming of age films like Easy A and Pitch Perfect.
This is Michael Brun, producer and DJ from Port-au-Prince, Haiti. And since today is May 18th, I wanted to talk a little bit about Haitian Flag Day, which is celebrated today by Haitians in Haiti and around the world. Haitian Flag Day is probably one of our biggest national holidays and really symbolizes the first successful slave revolution in the history of the world, which led to a freed nation, in this case, free from the French, and also the abolishment of slavery in the country. It's a really iconic and important date in the history of the Western world, especially because Haiti ended up helping so many other countries across the Caribbean, South America, and Central America to gain their freedoms as well. So as an artist, I always look to this date as a reminder to the lineage and the history of the country, and I really try to always bring that culture into my music, into my stories, and into what I do as an artist.
And now for our final segment of the day, I'm going to be going back into my own photo archives to see what I was up to on a May 18th in my life. On May 18th, I took a bunch of photos holding various things that were located in an Airbnb I was staying at in 2019 while working on The Masquerade. These photos exist on Twitter, and they've become a bit of a meme within the mxmtoon community. I was staying in this really strange Airbnb that was honestly kind of terrifying because they had random sharp, rusty blades sitting around the entire place. There was like 5 saws that have rust all over them. I took a photo with most of those things alongside 2 swords, a gigantic wooden mallet, a huge rubber duck, and a pair of mannequin legs. I stayed in that Airbnb for almost a month. It wasn't a highlight of my time alive. Gonna be honest, little terrifying. Glad it's over, but I got some pretty good photos out of that, and the Twitter community thanks me to this day. Thanks for going back in time with me, and remember to subscribe wherever you listen to podcasts. You can come back tomorrow for more stories from the past.
It's 365 with mxmtoon. New facts every day, so don't leave too soon. I'm gonna teach you stuff, no it won't be tough. Gonna go a year till you've had enough. It's 365.